Yo guys, Pittsburgh Herbs here, and I'm just doing a second part to my water monitor care video. The first one, I just rambled too much, and I found it stupid, so I'm just gonna make another one, and just get straight to the points. Everything you need to know, basking spots, substrate, water, everything like that. Just straight into it. Let's get it. All right, so we're at his enclosure, and first I'm gonna start off with humidity. So I have a little humidity counter right here, 65%, that runs down into his cage. I just have it set up on here so I can see it easily. And forceps to, tongue feed him, makes it easier. And one of the most important tools of keeping a water monitor, temperature gun. You need to have a temperature gun if you're getting a water monitor, guys. It is so important. Whenever they're digesting their food, if they don't have the right basking temps, they can get some serious health problems, and it's just obviously not good. So let's take some temps right now. Open this up. So if I try the left side, so we look 122.5. And that's pretty good for now. It will get higher. Longer day goes on. This is only about 3 p.m. And all right. So lighting. You want like I was saying, you want a basking spot of about 120 to 130, which isn't that hard to do. Like what I did, I have these are two 100-watt bulbs right onto a flat brick, and they're about 8 inches from the light. So if I have these on for a couple hours, it gets up to about 135. If I leave them on for like 12 hours, sometimes even 140, which honestly I think is a little too hot for a baby. But so after a couple hours, I usually take one of these off. So yeah. So that's lighting. Substrate. I have substrate is pretty simple, really. I use cypress mulch. It is 50% cypress mulch, 25% potting soil, and 25% sand. So that makes it a nice consistency. It's kind of dry right now. I need to spray it down, but the humidity holds very well in this tank. So, deep substrate is good. I don't have it too deep around here because I don't want him burrowing too much. Because I like to see him, I like to watch his activity, and I want him to see me and get more familiar with me, so he's more comfortable around me. So, substrate is very important. You don't have to have substrate. I've seen people with water monitors act just fine without substrate. Like, for example, if you have a water monitor that doesn't burrow, if you could take away the substrate if you feel like it's not necessary, but it's easier to keep humidity up when you have substrate in. So over here, it's about 8 inches of substrate from here to the top. I did that to get this closer to the lamps, and and right here he can still dig. That's about 5 inches, and then it's only about 2-3 inches over here and over here. A lot of the times he won't bask there. He will, but when he's done, he'll usually bask on that rock because the lamp that log there, so the lamp still reach there, and it's about 100 on that, so he likes that as well. And give them a hiding spot if you don't like. What I'm doing as of now is I'm just making sure everything's good with him. I'm gonna get him on an eating schedule, make sure he's eating good before I start messing with him too much. So and water, one of the most important parts. Their water monitor, they need water. This tub is kind of filthy, even though I just changed the water 5 minutes ago. One of the mealworms is dead in there. Some poop and all that, but I will clean this out as soon as this video is over. Let's put some leaf litter in there because this is actually a bioactive setup. I have superworms in here, some roach species, and what else? I forget what else is in here. I'll have to get back to you guys on that. I forget the third insect species I have in here, but I'll hear him running around at night chasing them and eating them, so that's good. He doesn't usually like insects, which is a problem, but I'll get him off that. And again, a water dish, a nice big water dish, a way they can get in, a way they can get out, you know, all that. So, recap: temperature gun, nice hot basking spot, nice mulch, sand, soil mixture that holds humidity well, and it's really it. Care isn't too difficult for these guys. Oh, and one last thing, the fun part, which is feeding. Feeding these guys can be fun, but can also be extremely tedious. This guy, I've had him for 2 weeks now, a little over 2 weeks, and for the first week and a half I had him, he would not eat insects, not a single one. Actually, it was more like the first week I had him. He just would not touch them. I had to feed him rats. I tried some turkey and stuff like that. He would crush those, but no insects. I'm starting to get him off that. He's starting to eat insects like superworms and stuff like that. So if he's basking, I'll just drop a superworm on that rock, and if he goes for it, then he goes for it. He usually doesn't, but you know, I assume wherever I got him from was feeding him mostly rodents, because every time I put a mouse in there, instantly he goes for it. Instantly. You know, he'll starve himself for days, and as soon as I put a mouse in there, just instantly goes for it. So, you know, you got to consider these things before you get one. They all have their own personalities, you know. Some of them, just like in my case, will refuse to eat insects. And you have to figure out a way to get them to eat. You know, he needs to eat insects. When they're young, the majority of their diet should be insects. So you got to find a way to break him of that. You know, you got to be prepared for stuff like that. Got to have a steady flow of income to feed these guys, because they eat like horses. You know, even as babies, they eat a lot, or at least he does. So, I feed him superworms, if he will eat them. Dubia roaches, I breed them in my closet for my other leopard geckos and stuff like that. Crickets, occasionally. Crickets aren't too good for them, but he likes to chase them, so I'll throw them in there every once in a while. And these are probably the best insects you can get for them. They're super high in calcium and all that. Hornworms. I breed them in my closet over there. That's where a lot of my insect business goes down. I keep some insects in this Tupperware thing. But, you know, hornworms are great. You don't need to dust them with calcium. They are full of calcium, and they're just extremely good for them. And luckily, he loves them. He will absolutely crush them. You know, I highly recommend getting hornworms for part of their diet. He's still pretty skinny. Like I was saying, he would not eat insects, and he would go days without eating until I gave him a mouse, which I didn't really want to do. But, you know, it's just something I got to do until he will cooperate with me. And, you know, he's awesome. He's pretty handleable so far. But, you know, you got to just prepare for these things. You know, they are unpredictable. They have their own personalities. Some of them won't eat insects. Some of them won't eat rodents, which at a young age is fine. They don't really need rodents, or meat, rather. But, you know, I like to feed them that every once in a while as a treat, because he loves it. So, yeah, guys, everything you need to know about these guys, just be prepared. Do your research. These are not easy animals to keep. They can cost a lot of money down the road. You got to be prepared for. If you have a male, it's possible for them to get 6-8 feet long, 40 pounds. You know, you got to prepare for that stuff. You know, that's not too common, but it's definitely a possibility. So prepare for these things. Be educated. Know what you're doing before you take the plunge and buy one of these animals. That's it for me, guys. Stay tuned for more videos, and like for more updates on this little guy. Peace out.